Hello, my friends. This is from the live that Amber did a few days ago that was like 2.5, 3 hours long, and she had quite the crash out. She said some things that were not surprising, but pretty shocking. So I thought we would jump into this. I'm not going to cover the whole thing. I'm really just going to hit some of the points that I thought were interesting, where she talks about reaction channels and she talks about why she's so much better than the people that watch reaction channels. So yeah, let's just jump into it. If you'd like to like and subscribe, that would literally be hectic. I'm not going to lie.
So many people are like, oh my God, Amberlynn, your community is so vile, it's so gross, it's so this and so that. And I'm realizing more than ever that it's the reaction channel community that is like that. Because people who are like, oh, Amberlynn, I support you, they're not the ones who watch the reaction channels. That's the people who watch me. But the reaction channel community are the people who dox and harass and like say the most awful things I've ever heard someone say.
So in my last video, I made a comparison to somebody who had been caught on To Catch a Predator. And I actually think that fits better here, because this is sort of like if somebody was caught on To Catch a Predator, right? The show with Chris Hansen where he tells them to take a seat.
So how can I help you? Go ahead, have a seat.
And after they've been on the show and they've done their time or whatever, they come out and say, the people that either are okay with what I did or didn't see the show and don't know what I did are fine. They're really nice to me. They're always very sweet and they're very supportive. But the people that saw the show and they know what I did and they're not okay with it, they're the awful ones. They're terrible to me. And they keep wanting me to admit that what I did was wrong. So it's wild that she's like, yeah, the people that only watch me are just really sweet and nice and support me. Yeah, because they don't know what you've done or they're okay with it. So they're either idiots or terrible people. And they're supporting someone who's both.
You're a representation of your own community. Yeah, and the community that watches me and is just watching me and not the reaction channels are the people who are very sweet, very kind, patient, understanding.
The people that just watch me and are insulated from the truth are very kind and supportive. Yeah, I'm sure they are. And I love what Rachel says here. She says, we hold up a mirror to you. It's not our fault if what you see is upsetting.
They're not on the hate train. But have you ever noticed that it's the people who are fatphobic, who dox, who harass, who stalk, who say the most vile things? They're the people who watch the reaction channels. And
I mean, first of all, the fat phobic thing, of course, she always blames everything on her weight, right? Everybody hates her because of her weight. If you were to ask Amber, why do you think you're so hated? First of all, I think she's convinced that she's really not. I think she thinks that there is a vocal minority. Most people on the internet like her, and the ones that don't are just the loudest, and it's because she's fat. I guarantee you her weight would be the reason people don't like her in her mind. And there is a very, very small number of people who actually take it as far as to dox or actually harass. What you're calling harassment is generally just people making videos about you or saying mean things about you on Reddit. And that's not harassment. Those are public forums where people can say what they want. And you don't have to go look for it. We know you do. I know you say you don't, but we know you go looking for it. And then you feel harassed. So that's on you. The handful of people who actually do harass and dox and stuff like that, which again is a very small number, I don't condone that, right? They take it too far. But I don't think you have to deal with it nearly as much as you claim you do.
some people in gorlworld are actual sociopaths. Yeah, they are. It's very obvious because they root so.
Yeah, some people are sociopaths. Yep.
Because they root so hard for me to be hurt and alone and miserable, and it's just not happening. It's not. I'm way too. I'm just way too peaceful for that to happen.
Are you sure? We're only 30 minutes into this. I'm not sure when the actual meltdown happens, but it doesn't scream peaceful, you know? She says that people are rooting for her to be miserable and alone. That is not what's happening. You being miserable and alone is sort of a symptom or a side effect of your behavior. And all we're doing is calling out that behavior. So what we're rooting for is for you to stop that behavior. So if we actually got our way, if Girl World actually got through to you, if you would start listening to what we're saying, you might actually have a pretty decent relationship with somebody. But instead you dig your heels in and you continue the behavior that we're calling out. Now, I'm not rooting for you to have any kind of life. I don't care whether you end up with somebody or not. All I'm doing is watching and commenting. If you try to hold her accountable, she says it feels like you're rooting for me to be miserable and alone. Because that's what accountability feels like to her.
Rose-colored glasses are real. No, I've never had an issue bringing in groceries.
That's not what you said when Emily was trying to say that you knocked her down. You said, I'm a 500-pound, morbidly obese woman who struggles to carry groceries. And so you'll say that when you're trying to portray yourself as a weak, frail little dainty queen who can't hurt anybody. But then on your live stream, when you forgot you said that, no, I don't have a problem with that. Of course I can do that. Of course I could knock somebody down if I needed to.
It's like, I admitted, I wasn't a good girlfriend to Beck. I admitted when I wasn't a good friend. I admitted when I wasn't a good niece. I admitted when I was all those things.
Gross.
So, if I was bad to Emily, why wouldn't I just admit it?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? That's a great question, Amber. Why wouldn't you just admit that you were bad to Emily? And I get that what she's insinuating here is that if she ever does something wrong, she admits it, you guys. So if she did something wrong here, you can believe that she would admit it. But obviously that's not true. If she ever admits to something, it's usually really vague. She never actually specifically says what she did wrong. And it's always excused away by saying it was my BPD or something like that. And with Beck, the thing that she admitted to was just being controlling of their time. But there was far more to it than that. And then the bad niece thing is a weird one because the only thing I've ever heard her say about what she did wrong in the relationship with Tammy is that she's admitted to what she's done wrong. She always alludes to having already admitted to some mysterious thing she did wrong or things, but never actually says what they were.
I did wrong things again. Like, I've admitted to those.
There was some admitting at some point in history, but we don't know what it is.
I have, Jill. That's the point.
Jill said, Amber, just start radically telling the truth. It can't get worse than this. You don't have to live like this, but you have to change your behavior. Yeah, and again, we have proof. We have the evidence in the texts. And she says, I have been telling the truth.
I have. And there's nothing more I can do. I mean, it's not even that. The point is, I don't want to anymore. I don't come on here to talk about this. I don't come on here to talk about...
She says, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, what, tell the truth? I mean, you haven't been. So...
The time, like, I have never, and I've been through some shit. I've never wished I had never met someone in my whole entire life until now.
I've said this a couple times, but think about how simple it would be. Even if she didn't mean it, even if she just said, I overreacted, I'm sorry. Those 4 words could basically shut this whole thing down. She could say those 4 words, log off, come back in a couple of days, and things would calm down. Now, it would maybe never go away completely, but it certainly wouldn't be the only thing her chat is talking about. Because as it stands, she's making it worse for herself. All she's doing is making people want to push harder because there's no way out of this for her unless she admits what she did. Because all she's doing now is trying to convince us that what we saw, we didn't actually see.
I just don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't, but we don't care. I know for a lot of people in girl world, this is just kind of entertainment, but this is serious shit. And you keep making it worse for yourself by acting like it didn't happen. And it's not even that you're acting like it didn't happen, you're acting like Emily was the problem. And while I continue to reiterate, Emily is not innocent in all this, you need to own up to your side of it. And I would love for Emily to sort of admit some of the things that she's said and done, but you're the public figure with a history of this kind of stuff. And we can sort of understand where Emily was coming from because of the way you treat your partners. I can understand reacting by calling you names or saying that, I hate you or whatever because of the way you have been known to treat your partners. I can understand her snapping and getting to that point. So while I still think it's childish and not the most constructive way to react, I can understand Emily's reaction, but you took it a step further.
I just don't want to talk about this anymore. Why don't people understand that? It has nothing to do with me. I don't care what I did while hurting. I don't care.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. It has nothing to do with me. I don't care what I did while hurting. I don't care. And this is where she goes mask off. Because most other people, other than maybe her babies, who clearly are just as bad as she is, we understand that even if you get upset about something, even if somebody says something to really upset you, you're still responsible for your own behavior. How you react is still your behavior, and that's on you. You don't get to say, yeah, but they called me Pocahontas, so of course I punched a baby. Your behavior is still your behavior. And if you can't control yourself, then that's why you need therapy. You need to figure out a way to control yourself because guess what? You live in the world. I know your delusions have convinced you that you live in Amberland, but you live in the real world where real people exist. And your actions affect those real people. And when one of these real people experiences your behavior and then posts it to the world and lets everybody know, it might be in your best interest to actually hear what people are saying about it, rather than just continuing to blame, continuing to excuse. I don't think I've ever encountered anybody who is so unable to not only take accountability, but to even understand why she should take accountability.
I saw something today. Let me find it. Hold on. Sorry I was being so crazy, where you were treating me like shit. That's my bad. And that's genuinely, the best way to put it.
Sorry I was being so crazy when you were, again, saying, I'm sorry that you caused this. I'm sorry that whatever happened, it's your fault. That's not apologizing. That's blaming. How do you not understand that?
And that's all I'm going to say.
It's
I'm
not.
just done talking about this. I'm just done.
Okay, and Jawbone comes in with the clutch super chat saying, you don't get to choose when you're held accountable. Hell yeah, Jawbone. And let's see what she says about that.
Can we please just move on? I don't want to talk about it. There's nothing to hold me accountable with. That's the point. That is the actual point.
There's nothing to hold her accountable with, which it should be for. But yeah, again, she thinks there's nothing to hold her accountable for. She thinks her behavior was just fine and justified.
She gets to do all of this, and I'm not allowed to mention her, not even a little bit, or she fucking flips the fuck out, and then I have to deal with it. She told me that the only reason why she went to the reaction channel is because I was trying to hold her accountable for the things that she's done. Like, that's not normal behavior.
Okay, so first of all, you're telling me that Emily said, you're trying to hold me accountable for what I did, so I'm going to the reaction channels. I think it's more likely that Emily said, you're blaming everything on me, and I'm going to show them that that's not the truth. And second of all, you're trying to make it sound like it's she said. That she went to the reaction channels, but she didn't just go to the reaction channels and tell a story. She showed the texts. She showed who you are. So I know you're trying to make it like, why are you believing her over me? But it's not about belief. We saw the texts. And you have a lot of explaining to do. And if you can prove that there was something that Emily did that was so horrible that could justify your behavior, then show it. And I've said this a few times, but I want to make sure that nobody misunderstands me. I don't think what Emily did was right either, right? Calling names and the things that Emily was saying were pretty awful. But it's still not justification for what Amber did. You don't get to lay hands on someone because of the words they said.
Like, that's not normal behavior. I would never in a million years do that to someone.
She keeps saying it's not normal. Like, I don't think it was normal for Emily either. I don't think this is something she just does, right? She gets in a relationship and she's like, you know what'll be fun? Showing people on the internet my texts. I don't think this is a normal occurrence for her either. But she kind of felt forced to, because you were trying to say that she was the one responsible for everything. And it would be one thing if you said, she was horrible, she said all these things about me, and she called me names and all this, but I bear a lot of the blame as well. I overreacted on several occasions or whatever, and I own up to the fact that I was horrible to her, but she was also bad. Like, at least that would be something. But you're not even willing to go that far. You are actually trying to convince us that you are the one 100% in the right. And that's just wild. This person has a lot of L's in their name, but they've said a couple of interesting things. And this one says, you can hold her accountable, but not yourself. And that's it, man. We don't mind you holding her accountable, but we want you to hold yourself accountable.
If you need remembrance, like, because I'm not going to sit here and do this, but if you need remembrance, literally go look at the live streams where I was crashing out. Like, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Everything I said in that is 100% truth.
No, it was not. We know for a fact that she was lying about the arm pictures, knowingly lying. But a lot of what she was saying was really kind of how she felt about stuff. So, yeah, I don't doubt that you felt those ways about what was happening. But again, you conveniently leave out everything you did.
Yeah, I'm sorry for fucking going absolutely insane and unhinged due to I just don't want to talk about it anymore. It's the worst fucking relationship I've ever been in my life. I'm just so fucking done.
I'm sorry that I was unhinged due to, again, Emily, due to what she did. Everything is Emily's fault. And honestly, at this point, I don't think there's anything she can say that will make anything okay. Because when she said, I don't care what I did when I was hurting, that says it all right there. This is the mind of somebody who legitimately, like actually, real life legitimately thinks that it's okay to do whatever you want if you're hurting. And this is coming from the person who claims to be an empath.
And it's like, I come on here because it's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want nothing to do with her. I don't think you guys understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course we understand that. Like, why would you? What a weird thing to say. I don't think you guys understand. I want nothing to do with her. Yeah, we know. In fact, we assumed you wanted nothing to do with her 6 months ago.
Nothing to do with her. I don't keep going back. I have not been with her in months. I did not go back to her.
I mean, you did though. Maybe not this last time, but you did for a long time. And she kept coming back to you too. So I have no sympathy for either of you, honestly.
I mean that when I say that. I have been single.
ALR's buns. And it's the double bun. It's the double hair bun there. And they say, she has receipts, you don't. Exactly. Now, this live is before she shows her receipts, which are just nothing burgers, right? It's just Emily calling her names and stuff, which, like, yeah, we know. But they don't show what Amber said that led up to that, you know? But that's the bottom line, right? We're not believing Emily simply because she came out and said, listen to what Amber did. She had evidence.
I have so many receipts. Are you kidding? I have receipts of her calling me a cunt, a bitch, worthless, fat ass.
And that's it. That is the bottom line. Emily's receipts are Amber not taking accountability for being physical with her and showing a conversation where Amber is gaslighting, lying, manipulating, and all of the things that Amberlynn has become known for, including abuse. And when somebody says, hey, you don't have receipts, she says, yes, I do. I have all the receipts of her calling me this name and this name and this name and this. Like, she doesn't understand the difference. She really thinks that the name calling is the same as what she did. Are those mean? Yeah, but that's not the same. And here it is. Emma says, having your feelings hurt does not give you the right to physically lay hands on someone.
The way, like, it's the craziest thing that this person can do things to cause this person to hurt, right? So this person wants them to, like, apologize. And this person's like, why would you do that to me? And then this person, like, starts gaslighting. Oh, but I didn't, even though it's right in front of her face. And then...
Interesting she would say that, because Emily said the exact same thing. Emily said, I've seen the messages where you were talking to somebody else and somebody started gaslighting. I wasn't flirting. It's like she can't see that what she's saying applies directly to her. Even if Emily was doing the same thing, Amber can't see that at the very least, Amber was doing it too.
Blah, blah, blah. So then this person is literally gaslighted and manipulated and then starts to feel fucking insane and starts to show signs of literally being insane. And then this person's like, yes, I got it. Records her, saves it, all of this, and acts like the angel. But she's not the fucking angel. And it's
cool story, bro. But that still doesn't give you the right to lay hands on Emily. And we know Emily's not the angel. Like, again, it's not about one being all right and one being all wrong. You just won't admit to any wrong at all.
It's not fair and it's not right. Oh, it's like you guys forget that once in a lifetime, you guys hated this girl. You guys were calling her the most foul things ever. Like, the M word. Like, literally. If you have receipts, you show them by now. Actually, no. Because I don't sit there and just, like, show receipts. I do. I have literal text messages of her saying the most fucking awful things to me. And my responses are just like, I love you, babe. Da-da-da. Can we not do this? And, like, trying to, like, apologize for something I didn't even do. That was...
I mean, we can not like Emily, but still believe her. And she ends up showing the receipts, or what she calls receipts. And not only do they not help, they raise far more questions than answers. And they actually end up kind of exposing her for maybe threatening the well-being of Emily's daughter. We're not sure what that means, but Amber doesn't deny it.
Why did you talk to her about the hospital? Because me and her have been friends. We have been talking and we've been friends. And she kept telling me, don't tell anyone that we've been talking.
So hold on. Telling her about the hospital was after the Snowflake thing. So you're telling me that Emily went to Mr. Snowflake, told him all the things that she told him about you and how you treated her, showed some texts, some personal texts, and you decided to be friends with her? And she decided to be friends with you? What the hell is wrong with you two? Because the hospital thing was like a week ago.
I don't want them to know, etc., etc. But all behind my back, she's over here talking to reaction channels while we're friends.
Well, what did you expect? This shows how desperate Amber is for friends, for any kind of social interaction, that she will stay friends with Emily even after the thing with Mr. Snowflake happened. And then be shocked that Emily went and talked to Rachel. God, they're both idiots.
And not only that, but she was doing that while we were in a relationship and calling me Pocahontas and bullshit like that. Like,
and yet again, she's wanting us to believe that while they were in a relationship, Emily just decided for no reason to share personal texts and share all these stories with Mr. Snowflake about their relationship. I would like to know what the catalyst was for that.
no, I didn't go back to her. We have only been friends. She has been wanting to see my belly. She wants sexual photos. She's wanted to do FaceTime sex. And I keep telling her, no, I'm not in it. I don't want that anymore.
Yeah, okay. You're telling me that you've got somebody, even if it's Emily, that's wanting to do gross stuff, and you're telling them no? Shut up.
Like, I don't think you guys understand. Like, all asking me for sexual photos. She's literally talking to reaction channels.
Yeah, of course she was. She had already talked to Snowflake at that point. God. Oh my God, what did you expect?
I don't know. I'm just done. I'm just so fucking done.
Are you though?
And then I sat here and I was wondering why all of our correspondences started to be on Snapchat. It was really no longer in text messages. She made it to where our Snapchats deleted automatically.
Okay, so she's trying to say that Emily had a lot of really incriminating things that she said on Snapchat, but it got deleted. Man, that is unfortunate. Yeah, I'm sure that there was a lot of really juicy stuff that she said that could exonerate you and prove that Emily is at fault for everything. But that damn Snapchat.
And I'm crying because it's like, I was so peaceful just like being her friend. We didn't really talk much. We would randomly talk.
That's still stupid. Like, I can't get over the fact that after Mr. Snowflake's thing, she was still like, I'm peaceful being Emily's friend. This is fun, y'all. We're just gonna be buddies now.
And you know, she would ask for like the sexy photos. She would ask for, let's have FaceTime sex. And I would usually tell her no, like genuinely.
Usually. Notice she said I would usually tell her no.
And it's like, I felt good because we didn't have to constantly be on FaceTime. I was able to, you know, it's just.
Yeah, it was Emily's fault they were always on FaceTime, you know? It felt good to just be her friend so that we didn't have to constantly be on FaceTime like Emily always wanted. Shut up. You are the one that's known for needing to be talking to somebody or with somebody constantly. God, she really just wants us to think that she is just not who she is. She wants us to pretend like she's some other person.
You guys know how much I love being in a relationship. You guys know I'm almost willing to stay with anybody.
Obviously, you're doing that now by staying her friend, quote unquote, and only usually saying no to saucy pictures. You were not willing to leave. You were willing to put yourself through all this just to stay with her. But again, it was really Emily who I think is an idiot for continuing to go back to Amber. Because after all that Amber did, Emily just kept going back.
But I couldn't do it anymore.
Okay. She's really thinking that we're going to believe that she cut things off with Emily. When even after Emily went to Mr. Snowflake, she stayed friends with her. God, come on. Well, and the thing is, most of her audience, the ones that only watch her, are going to believe this bullshit. Look, like this person says, you deserve so much better. Does she? And then original Starwalker, Amber, please defend yourself. She has always used and controlled you. And then Jackie here says, take a breath. You're giving these jerks what they want. No, she's not. She's giving us a bunch of bullshit. What we want is the truth.
Because somehow, some way, it's always my fault. How is that possible? It's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's not possible.
Yes, it is. What do you mean it's not possible? If you keep doing the same behavior over and over again, no matter who you're with, it is always your fault. That's very simple. It can always be your fault. It's not random. You're not playing a game of chance on whose fault it's going to be. Now, I will say, in this instance, I think, again, you and Emily both are at fault for a lot of stuff, but you're trying to claim that nothing is your fault, that it's not your fault at all.
You guys, I can't keep going live because if this is how I'm going to feel going live, I can't do it anymore. Because when I'm just by myself and alone, I don't think about her. I don't think about this. I'm peaceful and I'm moving on with my...
Okay, she's trying to convince us that when she's alone, which is all the time, right? That is her life, is just sitting around doing nothing by herself in her apartment. And she's trying to convince us that she sits around and is so peaceful. She doesn't even think about Emily. She doesn't think about what the haters are saying. She doesn't think about reaction channels or anything. They don't even exist when she's alone. That's why when you come on the live, you already look like you've been in a UFC fight.
But then when I come on here, it's like toxic fucking alley. It's so toxic.
Of course, people wanting her to tell the truth, people calling her out for her bad behavior is toxic. That's what she calls toxic. That's what she calls harassment. Is simply people saying, hey, what about this thing that you did? Tell us about that. Preferably the truth. Because if she doesn't, then they're going to ask again. Wanting to hold bad people accountable, it's toxic. Now, girl world can get pretty toxic sometimes, depending on where you look. And I would argue that her chat is usually far more toxic than this. There are usually people making a lot more fat jokes and calling her names and things like that. The last couple of days, her chat has just been full of people saying, we know what you did. Please tell us the truth. And where's Rarity? And things like that. And that's not to say that there isn't anybody being toxic, but overwhelmingly, people are just trying to get her to address the situation and to tell the truth. But of course, to her, that is toxic.
God, people just don't get it. They don't want to get it. I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore.
No, we get it. Of course you don't want to do this anymore. This is probably the worst moment of your life because people won't let you drop it. Because you're being held accountable with evidence. So of course you don't want to do this anymore. I would imagine that the person in the hot seat on To Catch a Predator after Chris Hansen says, have a seat, they probably don't want to do that either. They probably don't really enjoy sitting there talking to Chris Hansen about all the text messages that they had between this person and that kid and why they're coming to meet that kid. I'm sure they don't want to do that anymore either. So yeah, we get it. We understand you don't want to do it. Did you think you were going to say, you guys don't understand, I don't want to do this anymore? And we were going to say, oh, okay, well, never mind, my bad.
And like fucking Snowflake deleting all of the messages he sent her is so fucking weird energy. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. Like, he's so weird. Something is so off with him. Like, you guys have no idea, but people just fucking love it. They're just like, milk these reaction channels for all that they're worth. It's fucking creepy and scary and weird. Like,
yeah, it's creepy and scary and weird to find out that there's proof of Amber's behavior after all this time, and Snowflake provides that, and Emily has a story for him and tells it. Like, there's nothing weird or creepy about it. It's just, hey, Snowflake's got some new information. Let's all go check and see what it is. And we all go, oh, wow, this is interesting. Hey, Amber, what do you think about this? And she's like, they're milking him. This is creepy and weird. Like, no, not really. It's just information. And I don't know what she's talking about with the texts that were deleted. Maybe I missed something there, but I'm not sure what she's talking about. I'm sure she's trying to just cast doubts on, Mr. Snowflake and the whole situation, because this is her MO, is to discredit the people that are holding her accountable. That's the only move she's got, because she won't take the accountability. So all she can do is try to twist it and make the other person seem crazy or untrustworthy, Emmy, no, this is God giving you a fat body as karma for your actions. No, her fat body didn't come from God. Her fat body came from Cheesecake Factory and DoorDash. So, you're not wrong that it was karma for her own actions, but it was her that gave her that fat body. Her decisions put her in that position.
And Emily, I know you're watching this because you watch everything and you're in all the Reddits, you're in all the forums, you are in and obsessed with me. You watch it.
Yeah, she's obsessed with you. We saw the call logs. We saw what happens when Emily tries to get away from you. You continue to be her friend even after she goes to Mr. Snowflake. I don't think you can really talk much about obsession.
Oh, and I know you're pissed right now and you're going to do everything you can to punish me, because that is what you do. You punish me and you enjoy it. You literally get a kick out of the reaction channels. You get a kick out of the haters. You love when I'm hurting.
I bet she said that a lot growing up, when any foster parent or her own parents or anybody told her no, or told her she can't have a thing that she wants, which probably didn't happen very often. But when it did, I guarantee you she was like, you love punishing me. You love when I'm hurting. You hate me. All you want to do is see me miserable because I can't have my extra spaghetti. So yeah, all of that behavior has carried over into her quote unquote adult life.
Actual peace. Actual peace in Rachel. You're a girl. I'm not saying gender has anything to do with it, but you're a girl. How could you look at me and think for 2 seconds that what I'm saying is not real?
What the hell does that even mean? Does she not realize that Emily's also a girl? So Rachel is supposed to believe you because you're a girl and not believe Emily. And she says, how can you think that what I'm saying is not real? Well, it's not that we don't believe that Emily called you names. We do believe that. That's not the issue. And that's the problem, is she is missing the point of all of this entirely. Because we also know something else that's real, and that was you laying hands on Emily. And your behavior throughout the whole thing. And your inability to take accountability for it.
Rachel, think for 2 seconds. This woman is showing proof while we were in a fucking relationship while she was licking my vagina. Okay?
Brother, ugh.
And then while we were supposed to be best friends, that's not normal. That's not normal.
It's a little telling that Amber thinks that if you are in a relationship with her, that you better not tell anybody what happens. You can't share the proof.
And I just sit there with my mouth fucking shut.
There she goes again. I'm being silenced, you guys. She's always being silenced. And notice that what she's trying to say is that Emily showing the proof is worse than the content of the proof itself. And that's just not true.
If it was the other way around, people would be coming for me big time, saying, you're supposed to be in a relationship with this person. How could you betray them, lie to them, hurt them, do these things behind their back, make fun of their body, etc., etc. You were the most awful human I've ever known in my life.
Well, actually, I don't know. It depends, right? If the proof came out or some evidence came out that for no reason you started calling your partner all kinds of names and saying really horrible things about them, then yeah, we would be like, wow, she's a monster. But if the proof or if the evidence showed that you said those mean things or whatever, and the other person was grabbing you hard enough to leave marks and throwing you on the ground and basically never letting you get away from an argument and keeping you from sleeping, like torturing you basically, then we would take all of that into account. The problem is you can't do nuance. You don't understand that we're seeing the big picture. It's not just that Emily called you names. I know that's what you want this to be about. You want this all to be about the fact that Emily called you names and said mean things about you. But that pales in comparison to what you did.
You guys, I'm telling you, if I donated $1,000 to a foundation for cancer, people would get mad that it wasn't the foundation that they wanted. No matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter anything in the whole entire world, I will always be wrong.
Well, first of all, it's the internet, you know? There's not a single person that has an opinion that everybody agrees with. If the only drama you found yourself in was which charity did you donate to, that would be pretty nice. But you find yourself in these types of situations because of your behavior, because of your repeated behavior, and you never ever learn from it. You've been in so many relationships, and all of them have come out, almost all of them have come out and talked about it. And even with that, you still have never learned that your behavior is the problem.
Every year, every December, if you go back and look at my videos, I donate to the homeless shelter. Every single fucking year. And it's always something that I do is wrong. Anything good that I do is wrong. Anything normal that I do, like fucking use Pam to cook salmon, is wrong.
Again, it's the internet. Are you new here? You're not. You've been here for a long time. How do you not realize that that's just the way the internet works? No matter what you do, somebody's going to disagree with you. And here's the thing. The Pam on the salmon thing was just silly. But you are so thin-skinned that it still bothers you to this day. Now, I know people bring it up a lot. You know, it's kind of a meme in girl world. But instead of just rolling with it and just going, yeah, it was silly, you get defensive about it. And you bring it up in a rant like this. But I love how she had to throw in, I donate to the homeless shelter every year, you guys. And it's almost like she's saying, do you really think somebody who would donate to the homeless shelter every single year could be wrong?
Maybe that's karma, but I'm in the most awful fucking relationship I've ever been in. And it's somehow my fault. And somehow I'm always the one that's wrong.
Yes, you are the common denominator. Every relationship you're in is terrible. This is the worst one. And yes, it is your fault. Now, it's also Emily's fault. And that's where the nuance comes in, right? That's why Amber is such a black and white thinker. She can't understand that, yes, it is your fault. And it's also Emily's fault. But right now, the behavior that we're concerned about is yours. The behavior that went way too far is yours. So while you're both at fault, you need to take accountability for what you did.
Emily can show whatever text that she has, whatever it is that she has, but I'm telling you guys verbatim, she made me psycho. She made me crazy. I did not recognize myself. My mom did not recognize me. I don't like you guys are not processing what I'm telling you.
And there it is. We're going to end on this because this is the crux of all of it. Okay? She's saying Emily can show whatever she wants. Whatever that proof shows, whatever those texts show, no matter how bad I look in those texts, Emily made me that way. Emily made me psycho. She made me question my reality or whatever. So, yes, I did whatever I wanted. Yes, I got physical. But Emily made me do it. I shouldn't be held accountable for my own actions because of what Emily was saying to me. Don't you understand? Emily was calling me names. This was wild, you guys. The fact that she said, I don't care what I did. That really says it all right there. That is Amberlynn in a nutshell. I don't care what I do. I don't care who I hurt. If somebody made me upset, it's their fault. I don't know that I'd believe somebody like this exists if I didn't see it with my own eyes. I can't believe somebody can be so unable to take accountability. It is so wild. And still no talk about Rarity, other than when she threatened to sue anybody who said that she did something to Rarity.
And any sort of screenshot that is very defamation-like, any sort of screenshot that people are saying that I killed Rarity, etc., please send that over to me on Instagram. I would love that. Thank you.
Because threatening to sue people that talk about your situation is always a really good way to convince them that you're innocent. Anyway, I am sure she'll go live before too long again, and we'll see if she continues down this path or if she starts ignoring it, or maybe she'll start vlogging so she doesn't have to respond to this kind of stuff. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.